Welcome. So we're going to answer part D, which says, given that h of 0 is equal to h of a, and using the diagram, explain why n is equal to 0.4 pi. Okay, the first thing you need to realize is that you can't use this information initially. You need to kind of show working that n is eventually going to get me to the information that n is equal to 0.4 pi. Okay, let's just think about this for a second. What is n? Well, let's come up here. They're trying to help me figure out what this is right here, that n there. That's what we're after. So how are we going to figure that out? And what exactly is this n telling me? Well, hopefully you know that because it's in front of the x, it's telling me that 2 pi over n is going to be equal to the period. Okay, that's good information to know. So that's kind of where we're going for. And you can see that what we want to answer this question is to figure out what the period is. If I can figure out what the period is, then I can figure out what n is. So obviously this information here that they've given me, that h of 0 is equal to h of a, is going to help me figure out what the period is. So let's come up here and see what that information is. Okay, now h of 0, I know that this point right here is 0, and I know that this point right here is a. And take note that this is things that we've already found, isn't it? The first part of the question, in part A, got me to find what a was. A was equal to 22.5. And we said, well, that's going to be the end here. So we've already found that out. So really take note of how questions kind of lead you to the correct answers. Okay, and now what they're telling me is that h of 0 is equal to h of a. Well, do you remember that we found out what h of 0 was? That was this part here in part C, when it says what's the height of the cardboard above the bottom of the box on the left-hand side edge. Well, we said that that was x is equal to 0, h of 0 is equal to 1. So it was just getting us to find what is the height here. And we said that the height there was 1. So that means h of 0 is 1. That's what we already know. We found that out already. So that must mean h of a is also equal to 1. So this point right here is also 1. Now, how is this useful information for us, and how does it kind of relate to finding the period? This is where your critical thinking has to kind of come in a little bit. And what I want you to realize is, well, if I can figure out how many periods are within this box, I can simply divide it by how big it is. Now, let me really show you what's going on here. Okay, there's one cycle. There's another cycle. There's another cycle. There's another cycle. And then finally, there's half a cycle there. And I know that this is exactly half a cycle because it's ending at 1. So the reason why they've told me that h of a is equal to 1 is so that I can definitely tell you that this point right here, this here, is half a period. That's half a period there. Now this is one period. This is another period. This is a third period. This is a fourth period. And then this is half a period. So that means there are 4.5 periods within 22.5. There are 4.5 periods within 22.5. Therefore, if I go 22.5 divided by 4.5, that will give me what one period is. So all I'm going to do for my working out now is kind of show that information. So I'm going to come down here and make sure that I kind of show all of that very clearly. So I'm going to say, all right, based on what we've seen there, there are 4.5 periods in 22.5 centimeters. Therefore, 22.5 over 4.5 will be equal to a period. And then I'd come to my calculator here and I'd go, what's 22.5 divided by 4.5? And it's going to be equal to 5. That means 5 is the period. And now I can come back to what I was doing over here. This is where, you want to make sure that you're setting your working out nicely. I have the added advantage that I can move things around here. So maybe I want to put this over here, because now I can say, all right, that is that. That is the period. So I can now say 2 pi on n is equal to 5. 2 pi is going to be equal to that. So 2 pi on 5 is going to be equal to n. Did I say 9 before? I get my n's and 9's mixed up for some reason. I don't know why. And now, hopefully, when I go 2 pi over 5, it's going to give me 0.5. And I know that's true. 2 over 5 is 0.5. So that, therefore, n is equal to 0.4 pi. And there we go. And sometimes people like to add in the sentence, as provided. And that's how you would approach that question. A really great question that really gets you to think through what you're doing. Hopefully you were successful with it, and I'll see you in the next one.